for those of us who are future humans, so you have a steady self image, the conscious, rational brain gets to make decisions. So you know how to use your prefrontal, which is why, as I shared yesterday, what did I notice? I noticed a habit of mine, in addition to us talking about all of those very important themes throughout the years, being yourself under pressure, the charged emotions of Maria. And so breaking any kind of habit requires micro habits, which is what I'm going to start doing. So you guys are going to help me as I clear my throat. And that's because real clarity, it comes from the capacity to not only notice your patterns, but notice your consistency. And when we spot inconsistencies as those who have a steady self image, we don't let fearful ones drag us around. So when you do, this month we're closing out with the theme of fear-based versus love-based leadership, and just true leadership in and of itself, it breeds humility with actual confidence. When you have arrogance, it's never confidence. It's in fact a lot of times, and when I say arrogance, it's not the word, excuse me, let me rephrase, because see, words are not as indicative of meaning because there's everyone who's using them. And while there are those who would love to tell me that it's because of people like myself that we have flat earthers, no, we have flat earthers because there's insecure people who validate each other and who don't go and take therapy seriously because they have other people who tell them not to, and so on and so forth. So the irritation, my edge, I get to master it thanks to community who are future humans, because 4D3D don't know we're here. And that's why the conscious mind for us decides. Those who don't think their conscious mind decides, none of our business. They can continue to follow each other around because they're the storytellers and they're the ones who use a left. When you use a left, your story, and you use your right, your emotions, you know when your charges come up. So as I shared yesterday, I get to work on allowing myself to say, hey, here's my charges. Hey, here's why I don't journal per se, but I use the journal prompts and the self-reflective practices to write stuff out. And then at times I also talk to you guys about it. Causing suffering to yourself is like causing suffering to a helpless child. You cannot fight or run from yourself. You're completely defenseless. Thank you, Sadhguru. Now, he doesn't know about the attachment trauma education. Well, I do. And so people who are aware, they don't cause suffering to themselves when we're around those who do cause themselves suffering, and so they call us presumptuous and that we lack empathy. We self-regulate. We don't say anything because there's nothing to add to conversation where someone just admitted to being dysregulated, not enjoying life, feeling helpless, not owning their conscious mind, and me not being able to say the one thing that I would, go to therapy, because all the therapists I learned from said they can't. They have to want to go, otherwise there's no point. So you don't tell people that are immature, our next month's theme, emotionally immature people in that which they like to think they're leaders, but again, in leadership positions. So we're going to make fun of all of those who are actively, in this moment in time, Diego's family from Ice Age. And yes, I said make fun. But I'm going to try and also ensure you take note of how it works to maintain humility while being empowered, not staying small, which is why my charges with this micro habit of me pausing to say, let's breathe. Bring in the flow, Maria. This is my fool's journey in Dharma this year. You know yours. Oh, tomorrow's a full moon. So here's a Lindsay Gibson Psych D. That ability to reflect on your own behavior is really much more a sign of emotional maturity than whether or not you behave badly at times. I think of the words people choose to use. The words that they choose to use tells me what they're willing to bring forth in their life. So if you think that being always the low and that energy, okay? So I'm just going to bring it that way because I don't want to use a specific word. I just have one thing to say. Hold on for it. I was going to sing a song, but I won't. Living an exuberant life is only possible when you are able to dance upon the uncertainties of life. Thank you, Sadhguru. In fact, I support people who get to be themselves under pressure. So you recognize your own charges. That's where the mentorship comes in for those who choose mentorship opportunities, which I don't talk about because I'm right now, allowing any of those who want to use journal prompts and the mindset practices to do so from the PayHip store. Self-reflection. A lot of those of you who are self-agents will enjoy doing it by yourself, which is where I know all about it. And then you know when you need that extra help or support, because you will know, like I know for my diet, and you know your patterns, and you know your motivation, and you know, yeah, wait for it, hold on, your complex system, because your embodied brain is yours, not mine. You understand yourself better than anyone else could ever understand you. And those who actively think someone else will understand them better, I feel sad for them, because yes, while I will interact with you and you will have an interpretation of me, I live in this body. And that's from a spiritual mystic who's not a bypasser. So my name's Maria, and I'm a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old and all my child parts and a teenager and all of it, but I'm a grown-up. And I like growing up. And I like having fun. And there's your pure piece of consciousness, which we all are, which is why the soul is the same for everyone. And the ones who bring us books and want to divide us, sure, you keep talking. The ones who are divisive, I know who they are. We don't want to be around them. They don't know how to play the game of life, and they're annoying to those of us who know where we're going. Pause. I'm going to see. Breathe, Maria. There we go. I'm pausing. I'm doing the micro habit in the moment with you all. You're helping me to grow up. But we don't call it shadow work and your teenager work and your 3-year-old. That's objectifying yourself. And if you are still in that place, that is why Pat Ogden is needed. And Peter Levine, and well, he's not practicing anymore, but Bezo van der Kolk, Stephen Porges, all of those who are helping people and humanity. But Stephen Porges, he's doing research, and at this moment in time, he's getting, there's some group that's really not happy with the polyvagal lens, and so that's not surprising. Fear-based leaders don't like the happy ones of us. Yeah, that's because they don't know how to do this thing. Wait for it. Where are you, Sadhguru? Right here. Once you see the limitations in which you exist, a natural longing to go beyond them arises, and that is your biggest fortune. So as I was saying, I help people who get to be themselves under pressure, because that's the point. What are you? Leader. So following the leader, Peter Pans and Lost Boys are adaptive child part. Their losing strategy is why my edge comes forth, and my charges have consistently supported all of those of you who are growing. But it's time for us to move into our next steps of the journey. So your fool's journey, my fool's journey. Wait for it, because I have another Sadhguru quote. He's awesome, I swear. Oh yeah, this one. I read this one to you guys. So this is motivation and mindset, but it's not motivation and mindset. What's your healthiest escape from reality? Without drugs and alcohol, what's the best way to escape reality? And I'm like, that's not motivation or mindset. That sounds more like you want to go and get a good therapist. But, oh, I'm sorry, you're in a subreddit group that just validated your question with a bunch of comments, and none of the people say, excuse me, escape. You can't really escape it. And is it the best way to handle? So when people suffer life, that's what happens. I don't know about it because, again, I feel life easily. So when you see life from your feelings, which we all do, okay, so it's easy to feel and it's easy to think when you are a self-image, because you're self-led, because you love yourself first and you love humanity too. And we all are part of the same species. So whenever any of emotions come up, they will have two aspects. If you own your subconscious and your conscious, and so you're the master of yourself, and therefore you're a self-agent, you're going to have fun every time you do anything, and you're going to grow. And that's why you're going to notice if you're charged, because you're going to notice a stagnating energy, and then you're going to continue to notice that it's not bringing forth something fresh. Okay, and also it's just a feeling. So your body and you are one, your mind and you are one, but you're not listening to story. You're actively able to notice the story and what you speak, and the feelings and what you're feeling. And that's relationships, Sadhguru again, are not about compatibility, companionship, or seeking happiness from each other. Although I would beg to differ a little bit, but I'll get to that after, because really I'm going to use the embodied brain to explain to you why you really, let me pause myself. They are an opportunity to create a union that paves the way to a greater possibility. Okay, so you're going to have the possibility to grow with those who grow. Those who don't want to grow and want to stay validating each other make really great emotionally immature everything's and follow each other around. And like the teenagers that I saw who did the same petty shit, they continue to do that. And those are called, wait for it, where are the clowns? So the clowns, they have inconsistencies because their moods are what lead them once you learn their 5 hands. There's plenty of ways that you can support people in general, and you want to remember that fear is not actually, we all have fear, but the healthy kind is healthy. The unhealthy instead is where it's people who don't have a strong sense of self, and that means that they get enmeshed and they trigger each other and they don't actually notice that they're really complying and trying to control. And it's martyrs, blamers, superiors. So 3D, 4D are going to stick around. They don't feel easily and they don't think easily, and their left is in control, which is why they can fall around delusional ones and actually think that they're brilliant. And we know they're not, but they have a helplessness about them. And the part about when you're not helpless and hopeless because you can self-regulate. So emotionally intelligent people can have a charge, not be ashamed of it. It's not our child part. It's not shadow work. It's none of that because that's not how it's feeling. Also, you don't use words like labels. You use your human name, humility, enlightenment, knowledge, epistemic curiosity, epistemic discipline, and knowing there's a gazillion people out there of all subject matters that can come together. Not all of them do, but the ones who are smart do. And with the consilience approach, they continue to support humanity to reach to tomorrow. Because we don't need all of 8 billion people to be smart. And I mean it. Stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable, and actively learn things. And that's with 2 sides of the brain. All we need is what we've always had. And God always wins. And there's no monsters inside the bodies of any of his children, by the way. This is a very sad story. It existed in the eons because, a lot of stories existed before science proves neuroscience proves it. So, if people don't want to believe in science, again, I'm the pseudoscience woo lady, but I'm not oblivious to science. Science has objective truths. I don't need it to be taught to me. I know it. And those who don't know how to discern between what is objectively a truth, which is where it's a handful of them, we know who they are. So fear creates control. Fear creates those who will say yes to anything. Fear is actively something, again, the unhealthy kind, that the left brain can build castles around. And I see a number of people out there. And there's explanations both from spiritual and scientific. And so with that, let me pause again. Expertise breeds humility, while ignorance will breed fake confidence. When you have those who are intelligent, they can explain 2 things. They never get upset about questions. They always can continue answering. And even if you become a person who's insulting them, they will be able to know how to handle it. That's called discernment, equanimity, love, which is lovely God's timber, which is where we do get to fix the system that drives more and more of people into poverty. Like a lovely man said, that's what our aim should be. And like another man who is not of any kind of love leadership material, but definitely they're a leader for the fear-based people because they give them a twist of, find it very strange that you think it would be easier to fix the entire global economic system than to start a business and fix your own personal economics. They didn't say it was easier. They said, we want to fix the entire system. That's a very good big goal that every one of us who actively is a self-agent will know is possible, because it's possible, humanly speaking, for us to get along. Those who, on the other hand, are arrogant, ignorant, and breed fake confidence think that, no, we cannot. There's only some groups that can make it. That's what you say. That's not accurate. We all can make it because there's the ones of us who are stronger and know how it works, life. Also, dark matter, dark energy. Please don't implode. So love is where your energy is at, by the way. Eustress. Those who don't have it are weaker than us. They don't have a window of welcome to their emotional plane, and they don't own their brain. And when they're falling for their own narrative and their own control mechanisms, it's not something that they're consciously doing, which is why they're playing out a 0-8-year-old. It's also not personal, but we know what's going on. And in the meantime, as people who need a sense of safety, insecure people do, they will get that false sense of safety with the small-minded ones. They want to validate each other's whatever the story that makes sense to them. Then they have a good and bad. They have an enemy and not an enemy. And that is how they do it. And so you'll notice fear creates followers, and like Peter Pan, they're all the lost boys and they're all on the island. Lovers create leaders because we say you can do it too, everyone can do it, and not everybody knows anything of everything, but we do know some things, and our ancestors didn't know about neuroscience. And now that we do have it, it doesn't actually go against God's creation. It just gives another explanation to the big world and the big cosmos. And so when you do understand that, that's the fun part. Ground in reality. The 5D collective, it's a bunch of people who are self-empowered with self-agency. So uncertainty doesn't reveal our fears because we have healthy fear. It reveals our level of self-leadership and emotional intelligence. And with journaling and self-reflection, the prompts and the mindset, you get to check out PayHip and keep micro habits in the forefront like I'm doing right now. We will be back with more and new topics. So thanks for stopping by. Have a good one.